right, what's up, everybody? Let me get this chat going here. Let me see. That's something I forgot to do. See who's in the building and get some people up in here. Let's see who's ready to tap in first. Let's see who shows up on the screen first. No, and it didn't do it. Hold up, do it again. Try it again. All right, here we go. All right. I hope everybody's doing good. We're going to have a good show tonight. I got some special guests. Peace, peace, peace. We have JG in the house. Let me see if my moderator shows up. Yeah, that's probably, I'm not sure who Genesis or Genesis One. Let's see who that is. China Black, what's up? What's up? Mr. T, welcome, welcome, welcome. Where is my moderator? I should have called him. Hopefully he'd show up. Malik Bey in the house. Shalom, shalom. All right. I'm going to give myself a few more seconds because I want my moderator. I want to see if he's in the house. Come on, moderators. Let me know you're in the building. All right. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, my moderator's in the house. All right. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Listen, before I get started, first of all, let me introduce the two gentlemen that I have here. Both of these gentlemen are DJs. You met Khalif before. I had him on my show twice. He's with the Magnificent Seven from the Bronx. He was there. I mean, he's what I would call an expert witness. If I need to ask him something what's going on in the Bronx, he's one of the guys that I would go to and ask questions about. So, and the fact that he was a DJ, that's more of the reason why I have him here tonight, because I want to talk about the impact of DJing on hip hop. And I want to basically discuss whether or not we should consider rap as part of the foundation other than DJing, as we oftentimes do. And so, and another brother I have here is Hits. He's a very skillful DJ. He's not as old as Khalif, but he's just as experienced as Khalif. So let me Hits. Everybody knows who Khalif is, so he might want to introduce himself again, but I'm giving him opportunities second. But I want you, Hits, to introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Test. Can everybody hear me?
If you could just turn yours up a little bit.
Test, test, test. Yo,
Okay.
that better?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't had this stuff on in a while. I was just telling truth. So the lights may be a little off or discolored. Don't worry about that.
Right. Okay. No problem. No problem.
Now, that's the phone. Hold on. As far as the DJ side, I've been DJing since I was like regularly, um, probably in my late teens. But I started in 1983, just
Mm-hmm.
on my friend's equipment. So that's when I started actually DJing. I ended up getting my own equipment, and when I say equipment back then, I just meant bedroom
Okay.
bedroom equipment, no big speakers, none of that. Then I ended up getting my own equipment, speakers, mobile DJ pretty much. Since then, I still have equipment here that I do at home. I don't do the mobile thing so much. Um, but yeah, just throughout the years, just mixtapes, parties, music production. That's what DJing led to. Different technologies like us here on the computers. Just a lot of that just came from my interest in DJing. So
All right. Okay. Any more? You want to add something else to that?
no, I have something blocking my screen, so I can't
Oh,
see you guys. And peace
okay.
to everyone in the chat. Peace to brother Khalif. Nice to meet you. And
Peace to
thanks
you, brother.
Truth for having me on the show. I've been busy with my gang over there at TMI and
I
Local
know.
Genius.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. Actually, Brass was trying to get me on with him, and didn't hear from him. I guess he got too busy. But in any event, Khalif, why don't you give a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, my name DJ Khalif 09. I was part of the Bronx Magnificent Seven, circa 1975. DJ, and like I would say a hip hop enthusiast, or I would more or less say DJ and MCing, breakdancing, the elements, because I don't want to get into it right now. I want to kind of get into it into the show why I say that, but I'll explain that a little later. I'm just here to like give my opinion if I can.
Right. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing your opinion. But you know what? Before I get started, I want you guys to indulge me for a second. Okay. Now, I know many of you may not be aware of, and I know you, Hitch, I know you're aware of this. Our good friend, Dr. Cologne, had made a video. And Dr. Cologne, I'm going to talk about you. I know you don't want me to, but I'm going to talk about you real quick. He made a video calling me out. That video lasted like an hour and a half, just making an utter fool of himself. And so what I want to do, I want to take this opportunity, Dr. Cologne, I hope you're watching, and I want to play something for you and to let the people know just how deranged you are, because no grown man would act in the way you did. And so I'm just going to call you out, and I want my guests just to indulge me for a second, and while I call this the ode to Dr. Cologne. Okay, so let me share my screen, and let me find. Let's see. Here we go. And let me make this nice and big. And here we go.
And I'm challenging Truth Savior to a debate once and for all.
Denied.
This is absolutely the last time that I am going to address this man. This is the last time I'm going to address this man.
Here's a quick question. What part of hip hop is getting up here crying?
There's no crying in hip hop.
Ain't no crying in hip hop. Well, that's what he does.
Reported to me that they saw you there. And what did they say? This dude looked out of place. This dude looked like he was just fishing for information, because that's what you were doing. You, sir.
Let me just stop it real quick, because this is not going to be synced. This is from a different video. Just the audio you're hearing is from a different thing. So it's not going to be in sync. It's just to provide another video where he was ranting and raving. So don't look for it to be in sync.
Are a straight clown, but this ain't about you. And I knew this was going to happen. I absolutely could predict that his supporters are gonna come in here and make excuses for him. Let me be clear. I don't need him to support my channel. I don't need him to get followers. The people that follow my channel and truly follow my channel follow the content and support the content. The rest of you are trolls who I'm not paying any attention to. Okay, so what I need is Truth Savior to get in the chat. I know you're watching. I know somebody has already informed you of my challenge. So come on and put your money where your mouth is. Oh, you talk too much. Never mind Racer Bo. Never mind Racist Bo. Where's Truth Savior? Where's Truth Savior? Oh, the gloves are off. Where's Truth Savior? This is who I want to talk to. But he ain't going to show up because he's going to punk out. Because he really believes his own mail. This dude really believes he is the quintessential foundational Black American who is going to save hip hop from the Puerto Ricans and the Caribbeans. Get out of here with that nonsense, my man. Let's go.
Stop it.
Get some help.
None of you know what you're talking about in the first place. None of you can stop talking about me in the first place, which I don't know why you're doing that. I'm nobody special, man. I'm just somebody who's putting out content. And because I'm a Puerto Rican doing it, that's where your problem is, because of your racist agenda. You are racist in your hearts, and that's what your daddy is. True Savior, your daddy is the king of the racists. Oh wait, but he learned how to be a racist from his daddy, Tariq Nasheed. True Savior, let's debate, son. Stop playing. Let's go. Stop playing. Step up, because I've heard him make videos about me. He would talk the game. I thought he would do that, but he's not even doing that. Right? All of these dudes are background gangsters who don't have a life. All right? I'm in the forefront. I'm out here, and I'm challenging True Savior to a debate once and for all. Well, I'm saying nobody crashing out. I'm just passionate about what I'm saying. But let's go. But most importantly, where's Truth Savior? Where's Truth Savior? He's not going to respond. He's not going to get in here. He's probably home watching this, laughing. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. And can talk about this debate. But of course, he's not going to. He's not going to. He's not going to. He's not going to. Ain't nobody on a rage. I'm passionate. I'm not mad. I'm just passionate. I'm passionate because somebody has to get at this dude. Let's go. Let's go.
This is absolutely the last time that I am going to address this man. This is the last time I'm going to address this man.
Here's a quick question. What part of hip hop is getting up here crying? You don't get that, man.
There's no crying in hip hop.
Ain't no crying in hip hop. But that's what he does.
That's who I want. Woo, let's go, man. Why don't you pray to your Savior and ask him to show up? Show up to the prayer meeting. Ask him to show up. I'll drop the link. Come on, man. That's what I want. Woo! That's what I want. He should have never put my name in his mouth on the last video. He could have made a video without mentioning me. But no, he had to do it again. And I'm done. Stop capping. Stop running. I know you got your little, your little cheerleading squad up here trying to defend you. Huh? That's what you got. Little cheerleaders trying to defend you. My man, once again, a moderated intellectual debate live and in person or live on YouTube, whichever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. We could do this. Okay? Do you or do you not accept the challenge? And if you don't, I keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not stressing. I'm not going to take my channel down. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. But what I would suggest you do is keep my name out your mouth, dude. If you're not willing to take a challenge and debate me, stop talking about me. Stop talking about me. But if you continue to talk about me, the only way I'm going to respond to you is to challenge you to a debate. I'm not going to make videos about you. I'm done giving you light. The only reason you got light in the first place is because of your daddy, the man by the name of Tariq Nasheed. Oh, that's your daddy right there. That's your daddy, your FBA daddy. Get out of here, bro. Where you at? Where you at, bro? Where you at? Where you at, bro? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Nowhere. More of the clowns on here. Oh, they're coming by the dozen now.
What can you say? What can you say? What can you say? What can you say? What do you think? What do you think? Cologne, let me just say, because I know Cologne is watching, and I'm just going to say this real quick to Cologne. Listen, you ought to know, if you don't get into the YouTube streets, if you're thin-skinned, all right? If you can't take criticisms, you shouldn't be on YouTube, all right? So just know that if you say stupid stuff on your channel, I'm going to talk about you. Be prepared for that. If you don't like it, stop making videos, stop making stupid comments, and putting up stupid content. So just be prepared, brother, that I will continually talk about you. Get a thicker skin. So that's what I'm going to say to you, Dr. Cologne. So again, gentlemen, forgive me. I just had to get that out of my system. All right. All right. So let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What y'all think, chat? What y'all think about that roast of Dr. Cologne? All right, so let's get into
Somebody's
this
been over here
particular.
working on the editing. And
What's that?
so somebody been over here working on their editing. And, back and
Oh,
forth.
I'm trying to get like you, kids, man. I'm trying to get like you. What's up, Isaiah? What's up? What's up? What's up? Lie. I guess it's L-I-Y. I don't know if that's how I pronounce your name, but what's up? Let me just. Don't you think you're talking about him? We'll draw more people to it. Let's see. I bet you that's Dr. Cologne right there. Genesis 1. That's probably him right there. Under his fake name. I called you out, Dr. Cologne. All right. So let's I don't care. Listen, I'm not how you say so sensitive as you are. I don't care who comes to your channel. I really don't care. Just understand that. So here we go. Let's do this. Let's get into it. Like I said, I apologize, guys. I just had to do that. Just had to get that out of my system. All right. So let's go to the issue at hand. Let me bring up this video and we could get started. This is the premise of my conversation. Like I said, of the topic, because what I'm proposing is, why is it that three individuals, Herc, Bambaataa, and Flash, is considered the foundation, when in fact, I'm of the belief that had it not been for the success of Rapper's Delight and Sylvia Robinson vision, hip hop would have just been a regional thing. Mm-hmm. Just like go-go is a regional thing in the DMV. But something happened after Rapper's Delight. The whole scene changed. All the doors appeared to open up, and for the first time, people realized you could have a career in hip hop after the success of this record. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the issue I have. Why is it that rappers are not considered part of the foundation when they are the ones who actually, in a sense, birthed this thing in reality? Because it would have been just a regional thing. So I want to play this this particular clip, and I want you guys to, tell me, do you know this guy, Big Jeff? Are you guys familiar? Because I sent you guys the video of Big Jeff. Let me go back. Let me do this first. Go back.
Is that the person who's interviewing Theodore?
No, not that one. I'll play it. I'll play it, and then maybe it'll refresh your memory. Okay, let's do this. Okay, where is it at? Where is it at? Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, let's listen to this. And
you are now listening to the sexiest podcast in the world, The Lady and the Don.
What's the deal, my people? You know this, Don Tony Teflon, the Lady LMR. This is the Lady and the Don podcast, the sexiest podcast in the world. LMR, how are you?
Amazing as always, Tony. And this is extra special today. We have somebody awesome joining us.
That's right. We have a special guest rocking with us. It's none other than Big Zulu Jeff, one of the founding members of the Zulu Nation. Jeff, thank you for rocking with us. We really do.
So that's a brother. Do you guys know this individual, Khalif?
I don't know him now.
Okay, what about you, Hits?
No.
You don't know him. Okay. Well, apparently he's a big dude in the industry, according to at least the interviewers. So, but let's listen.
We appreciate you being with us today.
What's going on, Tony?
That's what it is. Now, since we have Jeff, Jeff is a historian in rap. He's been in this rap game for such a long time and everything else. Like, so he knows just about everybody. If you know a rapper, this is your rapper's favorite friend in the industry right here is Big Jeff, because he knows everyone in the industry knows and respects Jeff. He's been in the game for a long time. There's a lot of people who are into hip hop now, they really don't know the history of why things are the way they were. So you mentioned the Rocksteady Crew, which reminds me of a movie, Beat Street. And when you literally look at this movie, Beat Street, and people may say this was a hip hop movie, but in really, the stars of the movie was DJ and the breakdancer. So Correct. Can you talk about how? And you know, I think Kumo D was in it, and I still think that the Santa Claus rap stole the whole show. The whole movie, that was, I think, to me, the most talked about thing in the whole movie was the Santa Claus rap with Kumo D. But can you talk about how in the beginning of hip hop, it really wasn't about the MC, it really wasn't about hip hop, and how it changed and became more about the MC?
Man, it's a shame about Super Easy's hands and all. I'm telling you, you're gonna love Double K. He is the baddest, the freshest young DJ in the Bronx. You better be.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, Tony. The DJ was the foundation of the culture of hip hop from '73 with Kool Herc all the way till hip hop's first record, which was King Tim III. There was no, like, the MC was like just like the side case. Like, in other words, like the DJs realized later on, like 76, 77, that listen, you know, there's too much focus on, you know, what we're doing. So we need to like sort of alleviate that problem. And, you know, they basically started looking around for MCs to like, you know, perform, you know, little bits, you know, it grew as it got better. But like really like 75, 76, it was just more like, you know, like someone would say like 4 bars, and then, you know, they might make an announcement like, yo, you know, Mrs. Tompkins, your son's looking for you, or Joe, go move your car. Oh, you know, don't smoke weed in here because the police are outside to get ready to come in. So it's like announcements, but there would be little, like I said, little 4-bar raps or 2-bar raps and everything like that. But so basically, for those that don't know, Rapper's Delight really catapulted hip hop into the stratosphere. It was a new fad. It was, you know, basically a song that was taken from Chic, who had performed like a few months before. They had a song called Good Times with the same bass line and everything like that. They took the whole thing and just redid it, but made it a hip hop version. And, you know, the funny part and the ironic part about that is that Big Bank Hank, who was not even really, you know, a rapper, he was a doorman at a club called The Sparkle, but he was friends with Grandmaster Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers. They were really looking for Lovebug Starsky. Lovebug Starsky didn't want to be a part of it. And so, like, basically Sylvia Robinson's like, yo, Hank, you know, get somebody to, you know, we don't want to do a solo artist. We want to have a group. And so Hank worked, he grew up in the Bronx, but he worked in Jersey. I'm trying to think what the name of it. I think it's Teaneck, New Jersey. And he worked at a pizza place. And he knew this guy named Master G. And Master G was his boy, and Master G was actually an MC. So Big Bang Hank went to Caz and was like, oh, you know, we're forming this group. Do you have any rhymes that I could use? And Caz had this immaculate rhyme book that he kept with beautiful penmanship. And so everybody knew Caz rhymes because he's, you know, Grandmaster Caz, but he was actually Casanova Fly originally. So he would say that, you know, I'm the CAS and the OVA and the rest is FLY, which is Casanova Fly. And so Big Bang Hank took that rhyme and made it his own and never told Caz what was going on. And then one day you hear it on KTU and BLS and, you know, a couple other radio stations like October or September of 1979, 40 years ago, you heard the hip hop, the hippie to the hippie, the hip hop, and you don't stop the rocket to the bang bang boogie. And so people were blown away, you know, by that because there's something new, even though King Tim III had came out a few months before with the Fatback Band, and it was one of the other 2 songs that came out before that. I think Rapper's Delight was the 4th or 5th song to actually came out, but it crossed over to, you know, radio, and it was like one of the first songs to ever even really play during the day. Like, you know, other songs just were played strictly like Friday night and Saturday night, like I said before, but that song crossed over and was actually played occasionally during the day. But that changed like the element from the MC, from the DJ being the foundation to the MC, because now there's rap records being made. So like you said, Tony, like originally the DJ was the foundation. The DJ was everything. The DJs were so secretive. We're talking about Africa Bambaataa, we're talking about Kool Herc, we're talking about Grand Master Flash, Grand Wizard Theodore, DJ Hollywood, Lubbock Starsky. A lot of them would dig in the crates at record stores, come up with these breaks and these songs, and then would like not even like share where they got that break from, because it was like so pure and so secretive and everything like that. And you weren't allowed to come behind the ropes unless you were really a good friend of the person, or you were somebody important, or you were MC. But even those guys didn't know all the breaks and stuff like that were being played. Like, it was very secretive, and to this day, like, you can't ask Kool Herc and Bam and people like that, like, what record is that? They won't even share the information 40 years later or 45 years later. It's interesting. But yeah, that's the basic answer. Like, the DJ was the foundation from 73 to like 79, and then the MC became the foundation.
All right, so I'm in total agreement with the brother. Like, I don't know if you guys, like I said, you guys don't know who he is, but apparently he's held in high esteem in the hip hop universe. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think there should be two foundational periods of hip hop instead of just one? Khalif, you could go first.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is what I was alluding to earlier. Because people need to understand that those two are actually two separate things. Hip hop is one thing, and breakdancing, DJing, MCing, and all of that, that's something else. We didn't remember when we started this, there was no name. We didn't have a name for it. We called it partying, jamming, they DJing, you know what I'm saying? They breaking, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. There was no name for it. And so hip hop, Cowboy didn't coin the phrase until 1978 when he was teasing Billy, because Billy was going into the army, right? And then I think it was in 1980 when the reporter asked Bam, well, what do you call it? What do you know? And he said, I don't know, hip hop. And that's pretty much how it got that name. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because it's a backstory to this. It's something what the brother was saying, I have to allude to that. When Flash, back in the days, before there was a Furious 5, right? Flash had the it's two things. As far as the MC, I agree with the brother. Like, Flash would say that himself. He said that he was the DJ, he was DJing, but he needed somebody to take the focus off of him because he couldn't get on the microphone and DJ at the same time. So he needed somebody to take the, while he's DJing, somebody else to control the crowd. And that's when he used to put his microphone on the table, and it was open mic. Anybody could come up and grab the microphone. That's how he used to do this when he was at parties. And up until Keith Cowboy, may rest in peace, came up and he grabbed the mic. You know what I mean? That was his first MC. And when Cowboy grabbed the mic, he captivated the crowd. He was one of those crowd controlling type of MCs. And that's where the birth of the MC. Because we talk about Coca Rock, you know what I mean? Rock wasn't spitting like he would spit little, like he said, 4-bar rhymes and stuff like that there. Just it was all about a crowd motivator type of thing. But you needed the MC. So what I was alluding to was it came a point in time when, say there was the Furious 4. It was Mel, Cowboy, Danny, and Ness, right? They had a manager, Ray Chandler. So what happened was it was Black Door Productions. And so Ray was taking them around basically on tours of all the high schools in the Bronx and all that and everything, and this is where hip hop came up out of the Bronx and really started getting known in all the other boroughs. And what happened was there was a clash between Flash and the MCs. Flash was getting the lion's share of the profits. After Ray got his, then he paid Flash, and Flash was supposed to pay the MCs. But Flash's thing was, I'm the DJ, they coming to see me, right? The MCs were like, nah, you know, they coming to see us too. You know, we are intricate part of this too. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't getting even equal shares in this. So what they decided was they were going to go on strike. So they went on strike. They left Flash and they started dealing with DJ Charlie Chase. You know what I mean? So they were MCing at Charlie Chase's parties and stuff. And what happened was Ray Chandler, they realized, Flash and Ray Chandler realized that when the MCs wasn't there, attendance dropped at the parties. Attendance dropped. So they sent the Casanova crew over to a Charlie Chase party to bring these MCs back to Flash. And they went over there. And what happened was Charlie Chase told them, yo, man, just don't leave the stage. As long as you stay on the stage, I can protect you. But if you leave the stage, I can't protect you. One of them had to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to say which one or whatever. Had to go to the bathroom. And he went to the bathroom. And they ran up in the bathroom on him, smacked him up. They took his house medallion. And, you know, but long story short, they made them go back to Flash. They went back to Flash. This is a known story. You can look it up. It was in one of the magazines, either Vibe or Source, one of the rap magazines. You know,
right. Okay.
Article about this. But he wound up making them go back to Flash. Now, the moral of the story is that the element of the DJ and the MC, that's what really works. But now, in answer to your question, it's obvious what really won out, because rap is what hip hop is. It is what's vocal. You know what I'm saying? It's what people see. Flash did a couple of records, Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel, whatever. It didn't have the commercial success that any of the other records that, like The Message, Freedom, The Birthday Song, or any of those other records, you know, had. It just didn't, because, you know, nobody wants to hear a record with a DJ DJing. I don't think it has that. You know, you want to hear DJ live or on the radio or whatever. You know, understand what I'm saying?
Right.
For, you know, to hear that. But as far as the MC goes, that's a whole different art. You know, but that's just my opinion. And you know, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Hicks. What's your opinion?
Few things, right? 79. There was more than one rap record that came out in 79. Probably at least 5 or 6, right? And if let's just pick the 3 big ones: King Tim III, Sugar Hill Gang, Curtis Blow, The Breaks, and you could take Jocko Henderson's record. I think it was called Jocko's Rhythm, and he's doing his little rap, you know, over Ain't No Stopping, right? And what you don't find in any of those records are, and this is something I noticed after, you know, you hit me up like last week. You don't find any of the elements of the big 3 in any of those songs, right?
Exactly.
Each song you have a band playing.
Exactly.
Exactly. You don't hear Flash's quick mix theory or no physical DJing. You don't hear nothing eclectic is you know that what Bam is known for, and no disrespect to any of them, right? You don't hear any eclectic music in there. They're all rapping over known disco songs, and you don't hear the merry-go-round from Hurt, where you take all of these different breaks and line them up. It's a disco song that they're, and it's funny because the disco songs came out maybe a year earlier,
right?
You know, like Good Times and you know, or just a few years earlier. So they're on top of that because they, you know, they're aware that that's what's going on in the clubs. So in those major records that came out in 79 and the not so major ones, Spoonie G had a record out in 79, maybe not spooning rap, super rapping or something like that, right?
Was that's Flash, right? Too.
Yeah,
Super
flashing
Rapping?
them is super rapping is flashing them.
And
Yeah.
you also have Spoonie G or Love Rap, but those are lesser known. And either way, you still had the same formula: a band playing a disco song live in the studio. So they didn't even sample then. So there was no sampling. They just replayed it.
Right.
So
right.
Once you and since Sugar Hill Gang is the one that made it is listed as having it go mainstream, you don't find any of the function of what the big three did or what they're popular for bringing to hip hop, right?
Right.
So
right.
you have that rapper now. And to me, the difference between an MC and a rapper is an MC can be a rapper can be an MC, but rarely are you both at the same time.
Okay.
You can MC a party.
Right.
Rapping, you rapping over the song. And so that's something about 79 that I thought about, and how it didn't correlate to any of the big three. So that, to me, that said, when they had a chance to record this music, where was all of this influence?
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
not saying
Exactly.
it's important. Everybody knows me. Flash is, top 5 with me. Or top 4. That's my guy, Flash.
Right.
And it's as far as MCing goes, that's what I think Khalif said. That's the guy who was with the DJ, not necessarily a rapper. He's the one talking on the mic. Your car lights, you gotta move the car, making announcements.
Right.
Wedding DJs do it all the time. Where you're the MC or you bring someone with you that actually MCs the event. So that stood out. And if you have someone like Jocko Henderson, 7980, it's called Jocko's Rhythm. You can Google it. And even though it may not be, it's that radio style rap where a lot of our old rappers say they got that style from. Like Hollywood said that comes from radio. So that's just what that put me in mind of.
So with that being said, then why do you think the narrative has been crafted to just make it about those three guys? What do you think was at foot to say, okay, these are going to be the face of hip hop and these are going to be the founders? Again, not taking anything away from them, but what do you think what went into deciding that these are the three, given the importance of rap and given the importance of how rap took it to the stratosphere, actually gave birth, and how do you just ignore that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Can I chime in? Let me I got a theory about that. I think that what happened was they needed a focal point, like when did this start, right? So that 73 party is like where they could go back and say, okay, yeah, well, Herc threw this party in 73. But see, what's bigger than that is that they needed to like try to, okay, the big three, right? Flash, Bam, and Herc. All three of them were like the most popular DJs at the time in the streets. At the time. Herc, right? He patented himself after, there's a Saturday morning cartoon called The Herculoids. And so Herc had a crew called the Herculoids. It was DJ Kool Herc and the Herculoids. Bam had the Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? And Flash was connected with the Casanova crew. So they all had these crews, right? Which gave them popularity. It's all sectioned out in the Bronx, right? At the time, it was sectioned out. Herc was the only one who was on the west side over there. So basically, he had that whole territory, and he was the most known, most named DJ in that territory, right? Flash had the Boston Road area all the way down to Patterson Projects and Mitchell Projects and Millbrook, you know what I mean? So he had that area. Bam came from the Mario camp. He had the whole Soundview area, you know what I mean? Rosedale, Monroe, Soundview Project, Saquon, Classen Point, Castle Hill, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? That whole area. You know what I mean? So that's what it was. They were the most popular guys at the time. So their names rang out like that, And they needed to, behind those three guys, the industry, the industry more or less. This is what I feel. This is my opinion. Needed to, you know, so they focused on them because they say that picture that they took that I think it was on the Source magazine or the whichever one it was.
The Source.
They called it the Source. All right, the big three and all this other stuff, and that they created hip hop. Now there's stories about that. They said they just were told, "Yo, we're gonna come over here and just take a picture," because there was like a whole summit going on with a whole bunch of people in that room at that time. But they took them to the side and they took that picture. And then they said when they looked at the magazine when it came out, it said that they didn't co-sign that or whatever. Why they trying to Caribbeanize it, I really don't. I think that's some Democratic stuff right there. No, honestly, you know, because they trying to take hip hop away from us. You see your man had on here, you know, earlier, you know, and you know I'm familiar with him too. And he always going after Tariq, you know. He tried he tried the dead microphone check, you know, and the reason that he did that is because he wants to lie about the true origins and who actually was there. And I can tell you he wasn't, because I can tell you I was there and he was not there. You know.
What about you, Heads? What you think? What's your theory? What's your theory?
First and foremost, you know, I'm definitely not here to talk about, you know.
I'm gonna ask you to. No.
You know, just because it's not necessary. I'm just saying me, and I'm not here to talk against anyone. I'm here to big up African Americans and Black people and our people, right? And in our creation and input in these things. So let's just get that clear. So I'm definitely not here. And I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to anyone that watches this, anyone in the chat. I'm here to big up our people, not to put down anyone. So I think history likes dates, places, and names. And we know history doesn't get it right all the time. And time doesn't stop and wait for history to correct itself. That happens later on, right? That it, you know, you get adjustments. And now in the digital age, you can change some of these things, but if you got a shelf full of books, what's in the book is in the book. You know, if new information comes out, you can't change what's in the book. You have to write a new book. Again, when hip hop goes mainstream, just say 1980, you don't find these, you know, later on you hear them mentioned in records, but they're not known to the world as the creators through these songs. Through that rapping over R&B disco, which is common. Their popularity, and let's just take Hurt, the father of hip hop. If hip hop has 4 or 5 elements, and it happened on Sedgwick, all of those elements had to be there. Just if you use that terminology,
right.
Everything happened in that room, all of the elements, and boom, it was done. Which my opinion is hip hop as a complete I guess functional genre or recognizable to the public is not till the 80s.
Right.
You know, you like everything, and Truth knows this, right? I try to, you know, I'll tell people hip hop to me started in the 80s. And they will say, now if you are a detractor that it started before her or Flash and Bam, you would have to stay right there. So if I'm staying in the 80s, you're gonna have to tell me, oh, you got to go back to Flash and Bam and them. So if I go back to Flash and Bam and them, I'm gonna tell you, you got to go back to Pete DJ Jones and Flowers and Mario and all that. So either we going back or we ain't. I'll let you have it in the 80s, like whoever, you can have all of that in the 80s. But the second you want to go back, you can't stop someone else from going back. And then what happens to these gentlemen throughout the 80s and the 90s? Bambaataa, you know, and he's also a performer. He's, you know, Soul Sonic Force. So he's also a musician. He's a leader of the Zulu Nations. He's a activist in the streets. He's starting a new, you know, group style culture with you know the Zulu Nation, not so new in the 80s. And then Hurt, where did he go? I think he disappeared. He did some interviews. I just watched Flash's video. I think it's called A Letter to Kool Herc yesterday.
Yeah.
and he's like, Herc, I never seen you really do any of this.
Wow.
Like he's because Flash is like me. That's why Flash, to me, that's my number one. He can explain what he does. He can explain why he does it and where he got it from. So that's why I like Flash. Flash said, I want to see your hands. I want to see the kind of equipment you got. I want to see your style. You know, and I don't think people realize the connection you can get from actually watching someone. So Flash wasn't that impressed. He made a video. It's called A Letter to Herc. Or
Yeah.
Cool Herc. It's on YouTube.
I'm familiar with that letter.
Yeah, and he just explains the difference of what he does from Herc's and claim, you know, to support his claim. He's the beginning of hip hop with his style of DJing and him actually having MCs and breakers or rappers rather.
Right.
So I think history likes dates, time, and places. It's ludicrous to think 3 people started something that major. Or definitely that one person started it. So and it's nothing new. It's nothing outlandish. It's just, you know, sometime when it's not knocking at your door, it feels a little different. But it's definitely nothing new having some bad history. And then that history just keep rolling. You know, so and if you are them, are you gonna say no, you know, nah, I'm not, you know, no, you're gonna soak that up. You know, and if you get that limelight, you're not gonna turn that down. So I think that says a lot, you know, about that. That's just my theory that you know, history is not always right. It's you know what people perceive at a certain period of time. Hopefully with good intention, you know.
You know what? I had a theory. I don't know. It could be far off base. I used to think that maybe it's because those guys were out of Jersey, and maybe it was a territorial thing why they wouldn't get the recognition. Because I would think that if rap was the thing that actually birthed it, then why wouldn't you have, let's say, the Furious Five, Curtis Blow, or all these, you know, Sugar Hill Gang? Why couldn't they be the face of this new foundation of hip hop? And I always thought, well, maybe because these guys were mostly, at least 2 of them were from Jersey, and maybe they wanted to be a New York thing. I know it sounds a little far-fetched, but I kind of always wondered that, because why stick with these 3 DJs when, again, it was rap that took it to the next level, unless you don't want to give credit to these Jersey guys. That's just my theory. That's part of the theory. But I get
into it. It just wasn't cool that, like, a lot of the DJ aspect, you know, to me, being a DJ wasn't included in those early records. Like, that's, you know, after hearing Flash, you know, all his innovations on technology and things like that, you know, I didn't know that at the time. I'm 10 years old in 1979. So I wouldn't have known that Flash was missing. You know?
Right. Even when you talk about the Sugar Hill Gang, when they live bands created that, created the music, the tracks.
Right.
You know, even with the message, live instruments, even with Enjoy Rec, all these labels had live musicians, no DJs.
Yeah.
Right.
No DJs. So I guess once the recording was made, then the DJs could take that record and do something with it, on tour with it.
Right.
But in terms of the creative process of it, they had nothing to do with it.
I think it was the sound. I think it had a lot to do with sound. I don't know if it would have sounded as professional or commercial if a DJ was DJing and they were rhyming on the mic like that. I think they wanted to bring it to a more professional level,
right?
You know, and that's why they used the studio band, you know, to give it more of a professional sound.
If you think them record labels, even the small ones, don't know about copyright infringement, or that you have to pay, and these are hit songs. So if you think you're gonna call up Sheik and be like, "Hey, we got some guys over here that want to rap over your song," they're like, "What? Are you crazy?" You know,
it wasn't received well like that anyway back then.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't allow you. You know, a lot of artists didn't allow for them to use their records because they didn't. You know, they didn't like this. They didn't like this.
That's why the live bands were important, and in those live bands, like for example, what's her name? Sylvia Robinson. She talked about, or at least Melly Mel talked about the first time he was, was introduced to the message. And he said he didn't really think that would do anything. But Sylvia, coming from a musical background, understood that this song will work.
Right.
So Melly Mel reluctantly said, I'll do it. He didn't think it would do anything. But because Melly Mel is not a musician, but Sylvia was. She understood what she, put that get on that table, not the table, the PA, and start mixing those knobs and getting the right settings and all that stuff. Yeah. She knew what she was doing, and lo and behold, the message, a big hit. Big
and the rest of the group didn't want to do it, so they backed out. They backed out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
They did not want to do that record.
Book. Yeah, that's all in his book.
Right. So how is it, like, again, that's why I keep asking this question. How do you just ignore that, ignore the rappers as being a part of the foundation? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. The importance
can I piggyback on something real quick before I forget? I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Going back on what he was saying, as far as bringing stuff to the table, right? Flash, we know, right? Invented the quick mix, right? So he revolutionized hip hop. He brought that to the table. He revolutionized that. As far as the MCs go, the Furious Five, I mean, them doing the back and forth thing, they revolutionized that and just changed the whole way MCing was done. Bambaataa, he brought like what he brought to the table with the Planet Rock and all that stuff like that. He brought that to the table. The thing with Herc is Herc never brought anything to the table.
Right.
He never brought anything to the table.
Right.
He's saying that he did the merry-go-round and everything like that. But then if you hear in some of the videos, he saw other people doing this, the John Browns, Pete DJ Jones, Flowers, Lavoya, all of these dudes, Palmer. So, what did Herc actually bring to this? You know what I'm saying? If you really analyze it, and then as far as with hip hop, he has nothing that actually connects him to hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Flash and Bam actually do, because they're actually on records.
Right.
It's actually Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five on Sugar Hill Records. It's Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. On Tommy Boy. You know what I'm saying? Herc he has nothing in this. And as far as hip hop goes, because like I said, there's hip hop, and then there's breaking, DJing, MCing, and graffiti and all that other stuff. What we were doing before there was hip hop.
Right. Yeah, I like I said, I just wonder, how did that whole thing get agreed upon? That Herc, like you said, what did Herc actually do? Let me play this video. Theodore making this comment, and I want your take on this one as well. Let me find it right quick. Share. Let's go here. Yeah. Okay, I think I got it right where I want it. Okay, let's listen to this real quick.
What I'm doing right now. Word up, and that's what it is. Do you have do you guys have any words for the kids out there? Because really, it seems like the kids aren't getting the best of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? The kids of today are not getting the best of hip hop. Do you have anything to say to aspiring hip hop artists, people who want to be hip hop?
Well, the only thing I gotta say is that, if you're going to get into hip hop, know what hip hop is. Know where it came from. You gotta know where it came from in order to know where it's going. Learn about Afrika Bambaataa, learn about Kool Herc, learn about Pete DJ Jones, DJ Flowers, and all those people. Learn about the history of hip hop before you actually get into it. That way you can know the difference between hip hop and rap.
Okay, so that's interesting. For Theodore, there's a difference between rapping and hip hop. So what I'm trying to figure out, if you guys know, what is the difference? I know he can only speak for himself, but what do you think he meant by saying there's a difference between rapping and hip hop? And before you answer that, he did shout out Pete DJ Jones and Flowers. For those who say they're not connected to hip hop, here you have one of our pioneers, young pioneers, who said yes, they are very deep connected to hip hop. So for all you naysayers, stop the nonsense. Okay, so with that being said, okay, Khalif, what do you think he meant by that?
Exactly what I was just saying before. See, okay, Flowers, PTJ Jones, Mario, D, Smokey, all those guys, right? They are the true beginning of what because see, they brought that bring it outside to the park element and stuff like that. They the early ones who really were doing this. They started, as far as doing parties and having the crowd and all that other stuff like that. Now they're not known for their turntable skills. They didn't have rappers back then, you know what I mean, as far as spitting 16s or whatever have you. You know what I mean? They didn't have that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they would go do parties. And like Mario, I mean, and D and them, they go to a party and the crowd is out there, the crowd is dancing and doing their thing and all of that stuff like that there. They used to do the 4-bar thing, Chuck City and all that stuff like that there, the chants and all that and everything. But they brought that element to the game, which these guys studied that, and that's what made them go and do what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So they brought that, so you got to go to the foundation in order for you to move forward, and go to move forward.
I think what he's talking about is rap being the catch-all phrase for like what's going on now. That's an older interview, but probably a more popular form of hip hop, which is all under rap now. It's all under that term rap. So I think that's what he's saying. And since he's one of the pioneers, he knows rap is just one part of it. And younger people may hear it, oh, it's the rap genre or the hip hop genre. Like it sounds like one thing and it's only the music because that's the most popular part of it, probably when he did the interview and now. So again, it's going to, right now it's on the chart, hip hop chart, and it's the music of hip hop. It's not the dance, it's not the DJing aspect. It's a rapper. They don't really have a lot of DJs, involved in record making anymore, unless they're doing beat making or music production. So that's what I think he was trying to separate. What people perceive as it's just one thing, rap is the main, that's what hip hop is, this one thing, that there's a difference between all the other parts. That's what I think he was trying to say. Yeah, anytime you mention young people, it's like they may not know the details.
Right.
So that that's what I thought he meant by it.
That's all they know. That's all they know. They hear the records on the radio and stuff, and this is all they know. They just know that for them, hip hop is some dudes rapping on a record, and that's it. They don't understand that, because they're not old enough to have gone back and have seen, and been in the park jams and do all that stuff like that. They don't understand what it was like, to go in a schoolyard, hear the DJ playing the record and see guys on the ground breakdancing when the break comes up and all that stuff. They don't understand that whole aesthetic. They and you have to be there and experience that in order for you to really understand that.
So why wouldn't he just, my thing is, he wouldn't know that although the MC or the rappers are, let's say the latest addition to this culture, why wouldn't he just say it's all a part of the same thing? I was just trying to figure out, I understand what you're saying, but he's there. Why would he just say it's all part of it? There's no real separation because it's all part of it. And so I just like, why would he just separate it like that? Even though some other guys would consider rap something separate. This is not the first time I heard people say that. Oh, that's not hip hop. That's rap.
Talking about the popular part of it, like, and us older people probably do have a problem with current. Like whenever that interview came out, whatever was current in his mind probably had nothing to do with he felt was hip hop.
Okay.
It's commercialized, it's blah, it's horrible music, it's blah, whatever he thought.
So he probably felt that rap was just too commercialized.
Yeah, that's the label, and he's like, nah, that's not hip hop.
And then you got to remember, Theodore's a DJ, so I mean, he's looking at it from
he got a certain bias
perspective. Exactly. Yeah,
he has a certain bias. I get that. I get that. Yeah, man. So I want to bring up this one dude, brother, real quick, and he's from the Bronx as well. He hit me up on the chat. I'm just going to bring him up. I'm going to put the link, but nobody else come up. All right, nobody else. All right. This is for you, Anthony Whitaker. Okay, you could come up real quick. All right. So basically what I want to try to do is just establish why the three dudes, these three guys, is the face of hip hop. When you, just like you said, Khalif, what did Herc actually do for hip hop? And like you said, it wasn't called hip hop then.
Right.
So what did he do? What did Bam do? Bam made his one of his first records. What is it? Was it Jazzy 5 or something like that?
Oh yeah, Jazzy 5. Yeah,
the Jazzy 5, and so I mean, I think is that one of his first recordings with a rap group with the Jazzy 5, Khalif?
Yeah, I believe so. And I don't know if that came out first or Planet Rock came out first. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it did. The Jazzy 5 came out before Planet Rock.
Okay, yeah, within that one, yeah.
All right, yeah. So again, like you were saying, Hits, just like, what did Bam do? What did Herc do? Only one that I could give some credit to is Flash, to some degree. At least he was with a rap group. He was associated with a rap group when they recorded, So even though he wasn't in the process of making the music, but at least his face, he was in the crowd, so to speak.
And to go back to that history question, right? How long did people think Rapper's Delight was the first rap record before they found out?
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of those things that go down in history, pushed around the globe. And that was the only one, say, next to Curtis Blow, The Breaks, which was more localized, probably not as popular as the Sugar Hill Gang. But that's one of those things that go in the history book. And then people look and go, hold on, there was other rap songs that came out in 79. Hold on, how come? And it's 10 years later. I don't care if it's 5 years later. It's already in the charts. It's already in the magazines. It's already documented. So, and this is pre-internet. So they're writing about this and they're putting it in archives. And then you find out about King Tim III, who's actually rapping over the Fatback Band. That's who's playing the music. They're already established artists.
Yeah.
So they went and got someone that one of the band members knew to do the rap. And I think his name is actually Timothy Washington or something like that. He has like his plain name. So again, that's a actual band going to get a rapper. Curtis Blow and the Sugar Hill Gang, they were rappers who went and got the band, or the Sylvia, the label got them the band, or they used in-house musicians. So and this is what, 6 years after Herc's party,
right?
So how did Flash, Bam, and Herc miss that whole wave? Like Flash came after that, but they were signed to Sugar Hill at some point. But that who did they kick it off with? And then anybody 90s who like 90s music, go listen to Christmas Rap. Actually, Christmas Rap was the Curtis Blow's first record, not The Breaks.
What that was 79?
Yeah, go listen to Christmas Rap, and that's what the R&B group Next used for Too Close. Don't. Yeah, go listen to Christmas Rap. Anybody Google it or put it in YouTube, and Next used that, for their hit record. So it's a band.
All right, what's up, Anthony Whitaker? What's up, brother?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay,
you.
great. All right.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right.
This is our brother Khalif and brother Hits. Khalif is actually from the Bronx. So you both guys are from the Bronx, so you guys have some experience in terms of what was going on. And so, did you hear what we were talking about, Anthony, in terms of the question at hand? Why is these three dudes, the DJs, are the face of hip hop? What are your thoughts, if you have any, on that?
Well, the reality of the situation, you have to understand, you know, music is a very controlled culture, okay? And the powers that be wanted to put a certain face on it. The reality is that Black Americans have totally created the culture of America. That's not even debatable. It's all about blues, rhythm and blues, ragtime, you name it. The whole culture, which led up to hip hop, was created by Black Americans. That's not even debatable. So what happens is, and matter of fact, the way one of the main things I study is culture. If you want to know where the soul of the culture of America is, all you have to do is find out where Black Americans reside in mass. That's it. If you look at the Great Migration from the South to the North, they went to three main places: Philadelphia, New York, and Detroit. And what came out of those places? Detroit, you had the Motown sound. Philly, you had the Philly sound. In New York, hip hop eventually evolved. So it's a continuous culture. And so, but every time that this culture or the culture came up, it was always trying to rip it from the people that created it. When you look at the history of rock and roll, you know, they had to change the face of that. Now, hip hop was one of the things that came up, which was unquestionably Black. No one denied that. You know, white people came nowhere near hip hop in the beginning. And as far as Latinos being involved, that was later. I was there. I was born in the Bronx in 1964. I'm 61. So I seen this evolve. So Puerto Ricans were there, Latinos were there, but they were there in very low numbers. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. So every aspect that they got is because of the proximity to Black Americans, okay? Their families their mother and father were not listening to James Brown at home. That was not the case. They couldn't barely even speak the language. So you have to understand, you know, when hip hop definitely came into what it is, a lot of people simply wanted to give it a new face because it had such a huge reach. In the beginning, no one ever thought hip hop was going to be what it is today. No one thought that. So because it became so intrinsic to global culture, the world just gravitated to it. And so therefore, people wanted to come in and take credit for it. And I think the powers that be, and we know who they are, and I'm not going to necessarily say it here, wanted to give a new face to that. You know, they wanted to give a new face and basically open it up. And that's what they've done. It's the same process that has been since the beginning, is to take away the creative source of what Black Americans have done in this country. And that's just the reality. That's just the way it is. You can't, you know, Latinos can't tell me if they're being truly honest, because I was there in the Bronx. Most Latinos in the Bronx at that time didn't even identify as Black or wanted anything to do with Black people. That's a fact.
Exactly.
And I know I lived it. Okay. So no one can look me in my face and tell me otherwise. I lived it. So, you know, you had a few, and the ones that were more accepting, they were the outliers of the Latino culture. They looked more like Black people. They were like what's called the Afro Latinos. A lot of times you wouldn't even know they were Black. I mean, you wouldn't know you wouldn't even know they were Latinos because they never would tell you.
Right.
You would thought they were straight up brothers. They acted like you, the gesturing, the handshakes, everything, the style, everything. They adopted your culture 100%. So this concept of, Latinos and Puerto Ricans had 50-50 is such BS. It's because the thing is, it's not the reality situation is not who the people are. Okay, it has nothing to do with your lineage. The bottom line is that rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it, is a Black cultural construct. Anyone that's participating in that cultural construct is a straight up guest, just like Eminem. So Eminem's a white guy, but he's not doing white culture.
Right.
So therefore, it's not a white thing. It doesn't matter who you are. if a Russian or Arab decided he want to rap, what does that make it Arabic? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the culture. And it's a cultural construct of Black Americans. Without Black Americans, rap would have never came into existence. You could take everyone out of it, rap would have still came, it would have still done what it's done. Period. No one can deny that. Okay, because it's about the music. And so, like, when you look at, you guys are talking about DJing, the bottom line is that rap is purely about the music. So once there were other technologies that came into play that could loop the music, that can do whatever to the music, then of course the MC took on the front part because he's speaking. And poetry, if you know anything about the arts, poetry is considered the highest form of art. So it only makes sense that the rapper would eventually take over because he's speaking. And there's nothing that trumps oratory skills, nothing. So you can do anything you want. When people speak, people listen. So the music, so once the technology moved from the turntable to the beat machines and other types of instruments, then it only makes sense that would fall to the background. So today, like when you talked about DJing in the beginning, there was no DJing these early songs like Rapper's Delight and things like that, because it was always about the music. It was always about the music. So that only makes sense to stand the reason that's what would happen. And that's what did happen. So, and these other aspects of so-called, like I know people want to say that, they want to say, breakdancing and things like this. Breakdancing was a dance that came out at that time. That's it. And dancing, like any other thing, is eventually going to move to something else.
Right.
So no one can, a lot of people want to point to an exact time. You have to understand, when you got R&B, soul, blues, and all these different things, it's a gradual progression. There's no one pinpoint date to the origin of hip hop. That doesn't even make sense. No culture starts like that. It's a developmental thing. And it gets to a certain point where it kind of coalesces or it kind of matures. And so, to say that this particular party was the origin of rap or origin of hip hop, that's a false narrative. There's so many DJs. Just that, what Herc did bring to the table, he brought his equipment. When he says the Herculoids, people think he's talking about a crew. No, he's not talking about a crew. He's talking about his equipment. His equipment was so large and it was so loud that it became something that just people gravitated to. That's what made Herc what he was. He had no real DJ skills. He wasn't mixing no music. I mean, anyone will tell you he wasn't a good DJ.
That's true. That is true.
Come on, what are we talking about? I knew DJs that you don't even know about that were far better than him. So what I'm saying is that you had a lot of DJs at that time. You had house parties and things like that. It wasn't until the culture came out of the house that other people got involved. The only reason why Latinos got involved because it came from inside to the outside. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't even know nothing about it. They wasn't get down to, James Brown and the different funk artists that were out at the time. That was purely Black American culture. And then you have to look at, you had Soul Train, you had the Blaxploitation movies, all of those different things. So I just think the people wanted to give it a different face and call it what it is. Once again, it's just trying to take credit from the creators who created it. And the creators are Black Americans. It is what it is.
You know what I want to do? Let me give the chat an opportunity to ask you guys questions. Chat, if you want to ask any of the guests any questions about the topic, put them in the chat and we'll read off a few questions, and hopefully we can answer whatever questions you may have. Because these guys are knowledgeable. They're from the Bronx. They're in the same period as many of these DJs were doing their thing. And so if you have any questions regarding that period, definitely hit us with some questions. Also, Hits is a gentleman who's very skilled in his craft, DJing, knowledgeable in tech. Any questions regarding technical aspects of DJing, this brother can definitely answer those questions as well. So if you have any questions, if not, I will take maybe 10 minutes. I will open up the panel. And if you have something to say or add to this to this particular conversation, I will welcome that. So I'll give you guys a few moments to put your questions in. Gentlemen, if anything else you want to add, Khalif, Hits, anything else you want to add?
I'm just saying, what the brother was saying was right. As far as the DJ aspect of it and the rap aspect of it, there's, the rap thing would naturally progress and become what it would become because it's oral, So anything oral is going to definitely be the forefront. That, I agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before I lose my train of thought, I'm just showing you how important rap was. Now, I'm born in 1960, so at 1978, I'm in high school. Even if there was nothing even considered about rapping or hip hop in 1978. So many guys my age was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. I went to the military, so that's what I did. I went into the military. Some guys would go to college. Some guys would just get a job. That's what life was for a person my age. Think about that. So this is how important that record was. It changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
So now you could, hey, maybe I could do this rap thing, which didn't exist before. That's just how powerful that record was, So yeah. So go ahead, Hits. Go ahead, bro.
No, and what would be the outlet for it in the 70s? There's no radio outlet for it, right? It's not a genre. It's more block. If it's outside, it's more block party, right? Which, if we're gonna say block party started in 74, 75, that's insane. Indoors in a rec center, rental halls, nightclubs, like what is the outlet for it? And if there is a specific outlet, did that exist prior? Each tenement building, and I'm not from the Bronx. I'm from the suburbs. I'm 60 miles north of New York, right? But I know even here, our projects or any in the area, they all have rec areas where people rent and have parties and play music and dance. I was born in '69. So in elementary school elementary, when I was like 6 or 7, that's probably second, third grade. At recess, our gym was our auditorium also. It's not a huge school. So we would have they would open the auditorium up. If it was raining outside, we go in there. They'd have jump ropes over there, kickballs over there, comic books over there, and a record player over there with some records. Now the teachers brought in old comic books, parents lent school records, and we would stagger the classes because you just couldn't let all the kids in there. There wasn't enough items. But I remember my friends trying to do the pop lock thing. Trying to do this pop locking thing. And this is from, Soul Train early on. Just things like that, hats and I forgot what they call it, like Applejack hats, the bell-bottom pants, and all of these things, which a lot of that ended up where? In disco, right? It ended up in a popular form of disco later on in the 80s, the big collar shirts, having the button open at the top, the tight slacks with the bell bottoms. So and it's just you would have to have an outlet, and it would have to be popular enough that it could travel, and not that just be localized. That's how someone from Jersey can recognize it, who's African American, someone from Detroit, Philly, Maryland. We can all recognize the music, the dances, the song, maybe the clothing a little different, maybe the slang a little different, but it's all recognizable. And this is nothing against Puerto Ricans. If you speak Spanish and how you prepare your food, that's something different. Either what you eat is going to take over, or what I eat. How you dress is going to take over. How you talk. If you're Jamaican, their food, how they talk, how they dress. Either if we interact, one is going to outdo the other. We don't speak Spanish. We don't speak with a Jamaican dialect. We play that music sparingly. So it's there's a mix. Okay, well, where's the mix?
Right. Right. Right.
I don't see the mix.
It doesn't exist.
So I have a question. Acclimate to someone else's culture.
Yep. You guys can answer this question on the board, on the screen, guys. Just take a quick shot at that. And I got another question after that. So you want to take a shot at that question?
Yeah, I see the question. Yeah, we aware that they're saying that it come from, and this goes back to what I was saying. I mean, I don't know if it's a money grab. I believe it's a money grab. This is why making Hurt the face was a mistake in the first place. I'm not even sure why Bam and Flash went along with that narrative. You know what I'm saying? And where it's the party in '73 was the starting point, and that's the focal point, and all this other stuff. And Herc is the godfather and all these things. And like I said earlier in the conversation, what exactly did he bring to what is today known modern day hip hop? What did he bring to that? He didn't bring anything to it. Mm-hmm. So now to make this bold statement that it came from Jamaica, I mean, that's totally ridiculous. I mean, how? When? Listen, the thing is this, right? Imagine something like what the brother just said. Imagine trying to scratch or spin back Bob Marley. It's not going to sound right, bro. Mm-hmm. Imagine trying to scratch or spin back La Bamba. It's just not going, it's not going to be the same. It's just not, it's not going to have the same effect as if you spin back or scratch James Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just not, So I don't understand this. Now he's saying that he was playing reggae music at those parties.
Mm-hmm.
I heard contrary to that.
Mm-hmm.
He never was playing Jamaican music, reggae, or any of that, at any of the parties.
Right.
I don't even see how people are gonna be in there. You got to understand, these are young black kids back in the 70s, right? In the early 70s. They're not, Bob Marley and them didn't really become that popular in the States like that. You understand what I'm saying? And he was the first artist that really did a crossover like that, mainstream crossover. So they weren't really that popular. No one was going to be dancing to reggae music back then. They just weren't going to accept it. You understand what I'm saying? It just wouldn't have been acceptable. People wouldn't have understood it.
Right. I agree.
I'm in the brother Khalif, right? That's your name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes an excellent point. People understand the beat structure of reggae and Latin music does not allow for the culture of hip hop or the dance. It doesn't allow for it. The beat structure is totally off. It doesn't work. I've been to parties where they try to throw in, say, some reggae or some other form of music, and just people just get off the floor because you're not feeling it. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The reality situation is Black Americans do not feel. I'm just kicking it what it is. You can say, I'm not trying to hurt nobody or nothing like that. The reality of it is that Black Americans do not feel that music. We don't feel it. Mm-hmm. We just don't. We don't speak the language. The beat structure is off, and it ain't something that we can rock to and we can groove to. Okay, James Brown was Black American at its core. You see what I'm saying? And he formed the foundation of hip hop. Period. The funk, the soul, that was it. Okay, and that's the thing. So people say, when did Latinos get involved? The reality is, you never got involved. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't matter what nationality you are. If you're dealing with hip hop or rap, it is a Black cultural construct. Who you are makes no difference. It doesn't make a difference. Because somebody's white doesn't make it white. Because somebody's Latin doesn't make it Latin. It is a Black American cultural construct. Okay? Because the reality of the situation, if it was something that was part of your culture, you would have it from where you're from. There is no traces of hip hop on the island of Puerto Rico, nor on the island of Jamaica. If you want to see the origin of pizza, which is an Italian culture, if you go to Italy, you will find traces of it. And that's just the reality. Culture is the genetic material that exists outside of the human body, period. That's just a fact. And then I'll just even use a side point like ancient Egypt. Okay, that the way that they know, and this is, like I said, scholars and anthropologists don't even argue about this. When you practice a certain culture for thousands of years, there's going to be trace of it. I'm just using this as an example. Just follow. Just use it as an example. The ancient Egyptians braided their hair for thousands of years. You are not going to find any Arabs that know how to braid hair. Why? Because it's not them. The culture, the culture, the genetic cultural strain is simply not there. And it's the same thing with any form of culture. So whether it's a Puerto Rican, a Latino, or Mexican, exactly right now, you got Mexicans getting involved in rap. They are getting involved in a black culture. It doesn't turn it into Mexican because he's a Mexican. You see what I'm saying?
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use Puerto Ricans' participation or contribution in New York to say is a Latin thing. It doesn't matter. They associate themselves with the Puerto Ricans because they're all Latinos. So they're trying to use that connection. It's silly, but that's what they're trying to do with that particular conversation over there.
And the big three all mention who is their go-to, their inspiration.
James Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
If two of the three are from Barbados, why no Barbadian artist do they mention is their go-to?
Right.
And one is from Jamaica. Why didn't Herc say his go-to was any of the reggae pioneers or ska pioneers? They're telling you flat out, we play what the people want to hear. Who wanted to hear James Brown before he was top 40? Us. Like, who are you playing for?
Right.
Again, the conversations, right? If you go back and you ask a detractor who's either Puerto Rican or Jamaican, just go back 2 generations. Tell me what you were listening to. Tell me what your grandparents were listening to. I bet you hip hop, as it evolved, has followed that same African American timeline of music, whether it's funk, soul, blues. There's a timeline of that and a record of that. If Herc does that, he's going to end up in Jamaica in a different culture. If Flash does it, he's going to end up back in Barbados in a different culture. And that's just 1 or 2 generations. That's it. Flash, what was your grandfather listening to? What was he wearing? How did he talk? Your uncles, things like that. Now your friends in them family, that's something different. The neighborhood you were in, the people you hung around. How did they dress? Herc said they laughed at him. He had to switch up, got to fit in. Every young person knows that.
Yeah, he said he became more Americanized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He repeatedly said that,
Got a quick question for you. Okay, sorry.
No. And then the part about the like I saw that part of the interview where I think it's 2 different interviews. They asked her, when you brought this culture over, and he just let it go. So you brought Jamaican culture and created hip hop in America, which, think about it, doesn't even make sense. Why would it be something new if you brought it over here?
Right.
If you brought it, that's what it is. Like the gentleman just said, if you brought pizza over here from Italy, it's still pizza. It's pizza from Italy. It didn't get here and turned into a cheeseburger. That's crazy.
Right.
The sister saying, yeah, that's Jamaican culture, writing an invitation or something on an index card. Like, for a party in a rec room.
Right.
Now, whether it's clout chasing or chasing a bag, I get it. If I've been in this culture for a long time and I ain't get a lot of money out of it, maybe recognition don't always equal money. If your business ain't right, but you have a choice. If someone's asking me a question, am I going to tell them the truth, or am I going to keep on rolling with this shit? And to say shit like index cards is Jamaican culture. Like, if I was Jamaican, I'd be pissed. Like, are you insane? Like, an index, a 3x5 that came. But just to continue something that is absurd, that something as vast as hip hop started in a small room, a rec room. And if anybody's not from New York, you ever visiting, you can go on something called the hip hop tours. I think there's a few companies that do it. They take you right by 15, 20. And I don't know if you can get in the rec room. When we went, it was closed off, but you can see the size of the rec room. It's literally a room. And
No, it's greatly exaggerated because every time you hear about this, it's like 1,500 people. It's impossible. If 25 people could have fit in that room, that would be a lot.
Yeah, it's and right along with what the brother is saying, like, once again, a culture simply does not start like that. That's just impossible. It's culturally, anthropology, however you want to look at it from an intellectual standpoint, from a scholarly standpoint, it does not happen like that. The reality situation, this is straight up, and I'm gonna call it what it is people trying to steal a culture. This is cultural theft at its highest form. And I'll give you a reason as to why that is. Okay. One of the main reasons is that, first of all, America is the predominant nation on this planet. It is pretty much the light of the world, so to speak, at this point. It really is. So everybody wants to come here. We ain't going there. So one thing they know about Black Americans, and one of the reasons that Black Americans are very hated, is because our culture is intrinsic to the culture of America. Okay. If a president is running for the presidency of the country, he's not going to run on a Jamaican soundtrack. He is not going to run on a Latin soundtrack because it is not intrinsic to America. But Black American culture is. And so therefore, people want to now lay claim to something because they understand. See, culture is the lifeblood of a nation. It is the lifeblood of a nation. So when you can claim an aspect of a culture, then at that time, you can also claim a stake within the nation. And that stake is 100% basically Black American. Or everything that's American culture, who created it? Especially on music, it's undeniable.
Right.
Now you have other people wanting to move into the space. So therefore, that's one of the main reasons for this whole called debate, or whatever you want to call it, is people are trying to usurp you. They're trying to take your place. That's just the reality of the situation. I'll ask any Black American woman, get a Vogue magazine. When's the last time you seen a Black American model in there? Look at what's happening. You see what I'm saying? These are the reasons why these things are happening. It is to usurp you and to take a stake in the most powerful and richest nation on the planet, because everybody's coming here. We ain't going there. And there's no knock to your nation or wherever you're from. But the reality of the situation, you come in here for a reason, and you want a stake here. See, the Black American has a direct stake in this nation because we built it. And now other people want to act like they built it. No, you didn't build it. You see what I'm saying? And so therefore, this is what's happening. And culture is, once again, the lifeblood of a nation. So if I have access, if I say I created this culture, or I was part creator of this culture, then I have part stake in the nation itself. Like I said, you can put on any, bad boy record or whatever. We know one thing, that's not American. You can play any reggae hit. We know that's not American. When you play soul music, that's American. Gospel, American.
Right.
Rap, American. So this is part of happening. This is part of what's at stake. And these ain't fair. To say that, hip hop came from Jamaica, that's a straight out lie. I'll tell anybody that. And you no way you can look at any intelligent person, any person that's a scholar, and say that hip hop came from Jamaica, because you would see major traces of that in Jamaica, and you don't see it because it doesn't come from there. No. I mean, one of the main things of a culture is what? It's language. One of the main hip hop anthems was, you remember that song Puerto Rico? Yo, you look at that whole track, all of the sampling was from Black American culture. How the heck is that? Is that you're gonna have an anthem for so-called where you're from, and you don't have no cultural, linguistic elements from your culture? Like I said, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're. See, people are trying to say because a person is of a particular race, then therefore, it had Latino origins. No, your race doesn't mean anything. It's about your race means absolutely nothing. You have
Anthony, 1 second. I'm going to have a question for you in a second. So I'm going to let this next question go to Khalif. There's a question lined up for you real quick. Go ahead, Khalif. Answer that question on the screen right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, no. They out there in the universe somewhere, the tapes and our flyers and all that stuff. You got to remember we started in 1975, so all of this stuff is just basically it's out there. It's out there somewhere. Somebody has them. But we did a lot of practice tapes. We did tapes of parties that we did, and you know, the flyers also of all the parties and tape that we did. So yeah, they out there somewhere, but no, I don't have any of them.
Okay, go ahead, Anthony. You see that question?
What's the question? I'm sorry. What's that?
It's right on the screen.
Hang on, let me get to it. Hang on 1 second. I'm just grabbing something. Do they know from the Bronx that Herc and Cindy is saying hip hop came from? Is that it?
No, wait a second.
No, there's another question for you.
Oh, it says, at what point would you say that Latinos got involved in the culture?
And before you answer that question,
Uh-huh.
that's going to be, I believe that's Dr. Cologne. So that's my guess. Okay.
This is what I'm trying to say. Once again, it doesn't. That's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is you never got involved. It doesn't matter when. See, people see the point. See, what the person is trying to say is that because they got involved, it makes it part of their culture. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't. Like right now, I'll give you an example. The point I'm trying to make, and I'll more directly answer his question. Eminem is a white rapper. Got involved probably in the late 90s. Okay, around that time is when he got involved.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter when he got involved because it would not have made the culture white. So by bringing the question, well, when did Latinos get involved? I can answer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give any credence to any Latin development of hip hop. Latins got basically involved in hip hop more in the 80s. I would say probably the mid to late 80s when they started to have an impact. Okay, and to me the first major Latin rapper, in my opinion, was Big Pun, and he was very clear about where the culture came from. You just listen to his lyrics, he tells you. You know, one of the things he says in his song Dream Shatter, you know, niggas be swearing I'm blacker than coal. Because why would he say that? Because he's coming across in a black culture, so he understands where it comes from. So if this was such if they were such a major aspect of the culture, they would have played a lot more. They would have had a much more prominent impact early on. So, like I said, it was because of their proximity to us, they got involved in it. But once again, them being involved in it doesn't give it any Latin cultural flavor. Give me one Latin slang word that is a cornerstone of hip hop. Give me one. Give me one Jamaican slang word that is a cornerstone of hip hop. Words, foundational slang such as bad, cool, hip. Those are all Black American terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of it is they're like ubiquitous now. People go around saying, yo, that was bad. I remember when that came out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or that's fly, or that's dope. I was there when these slang words came out. And these slang words are the foundation of the lingo, so to speak. Now you hear cap, you hear different whatever. But what I'm saying is give me one Latin term that is used in hip hop predominantly. Give me one Jamaican slang. You can't give it to me because once again, it's not part of the culture. Culture is the genetic material which exists outside of the human body. And if it was part of the culture, the lingo, which is a cornerstone of culture, which is your language, would definitely have infiltrated the culture or the art form. And it hasn't because it's not a part of the culture. It's just not.
And that's actually a compliment to other cultures because or genres of music because they still can stand alone. Like reggae can stand alone right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't go away, it didn't fade away, it can stand on its own. Salsa music, merengue, they all can stand on their own. You know, and so it's not like something had to disappear or, you know, there's a reason to leave that behind. No, if a young person, that's peer pressure, trying to fit in is a big part of young people and trying to have fun. If the fun is over there, you're going to try to go over there. If they look like you, cool. If they don't, you kind of try to figure a way out. I remember in the 70s, BMX bikes, when BMX bikes hit the hood, we all knew it was white boy stuff. I had a Huffy. I told my mom I wanted a GT. She laughed at me when I told her how much it cost. Like, you got to be out of your mind. You know, skateboarding, a lot of things like that. We knew whose culture that was,
mm-hmm.
or who's the predominant people, and we're trying to fit in. So we would go to them to figure out which bikes to get. Okay, if I created a new trick on a BMX bike, does not make me creator of BMX biking or mountain biking and things like that. It's just something you go participate in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, roller skating. We used to go roller skating. Everybody was in there skating. We all knew the dance music. It was the R&B music, the disco music. That was what you got down off. The rock and roll you just played because there was white kids in there, right? And they want to hear this song. You really ain't dancing to it. But yeah, it's and those separate genres still exist. And like the gentleman said, you would have more influx. Somebody wrote Special Ed and Heavy D, all of them kind of acclimated, right? So you have an album and they have one song on their whole album where they do their Caribbean accent, right?
Mhm.
The rest is all hip hop. Pete Rock, my man, Pete Rock and Premier, my number 1 and 2 producers. Marley Marl in there. Pete Rock's name is also AKA what? Soul Brother.
Number 1. Yeah, number 1.
That's James Brown. His picture, the logo is a guy with an afro with the pick in the afro. That's Pete Rock. So if I see him online saying, "Yeah, you know, Jamaicans created hip hop," why is your name Soul Brother? Why is it not somebody from Jamaica?
Right.
You know, and that's my man. It's like, wow, Pete, come on, man. You took
Yeah,
James
but
Brown thing, then you gonna say that's
But
your whole influence.
But
Let me say
you're
this
right.
real quick. Let me say this real quick. I was told I had an answer for JG, a question for JG. I don't see it, JG. Put it back in the chat one more time. I was trying to look for it. I couldn't see it. All right. To the brother who asked me about John Brown, at this moment, I can't secure an interview. I do have somebody working on an interview with John Brown, so you know that. I'm sorry for you guys for interrupting. Just had to get that out. So as who was speaking, you could continue.
No, I
if you
just
were.
want to say one thing. Whoever making fun of my Huffy, who was that? Wrote in the chat. Somebody gave me my Huffy bike. That's so funny, bro. Yeah, it was funny, but that's all moms could afford. So I wasn't mad. And then I seen the kids with the BMX bikes up the street, and I was like, oh man, I want one of them. You know, Huffy was like a fake BMX. You know, my uncle and them had the Fujis, the Schwinn's, the big, you know, tall bikes with the thin tires and all that. But yeah, and that went, you know, it started with roller skating, went into skateboarding, then into bikes. So but all of those were all white boys who we tried to follow because they had all that cool stuff in those things. So
Okay, let me do this real quick. This gentleman's been waiting. I didn't for a long time. Let me get him up, and then we're going to close out soon. But let me just hear I'm not going to open up the panel anymore. But he's been waiting for a while. So let me get him up, see what he has to say, and then.
Yeah. Okay, brothers. Listen, I got to run, but you know,
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me up, True Saver. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Appreciate everything. All the brothers that were on here made very good points. And yo, you know, you're doing a great thing, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, brother. Right. Thanks for stopping in. All right. Okay. We have brother. Pronounce your name or say your name. SLE44.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
Can you turn up your volume? I think I remember seeing you before.
Can you hear me?
Say it again. Speak.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's a little low. Okay.
Oh boy.
Speak again.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, better. That's better. That's better.
Okay, I got you on loudspeaker. By the way, yeah, bro. It's a great show you're having tonight. I have been waiting, by the way, and remember I told you I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, actually.
Right.
And
I remember you.
Yeah. I'm sitting here with my mom, man. And my mom is 77 years old. Okay, and FBA. And I heard the brother was talking earlier about King Tim III, Chocolate Buttermilk Band, and then you heard some things about I think Bill Curtis, Larry Ayers. They're from Fayetteville, by the way, bro. And my mom knows them. And if I'm gonna let her voice come out for y'all. She's 77. She's laying right here. And I just want you to say hi to everybody, Mom.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing? Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Okay. Good to hear it.
Yeah. I'm here with my mom, man, and I just want to give everybody a shout out, man, and just let you know, man. Thank you for continuing to do these platforms for us and bring this forth with everybody and all the other nationalities that's in America, and let them understand just how closely related we are. When the brother made a connection from Motown and he made the Philly sound, he also said about down south, bro. I remember, and I'm 59 years old. I remember going back and forth to New York. My mother has been back and forth to New York. We've already been up there, bro. We've already seen that. We got family there. Okay. When I was in school, in high school and everything, but we had people from New York at our high school. My mother went to a segregated school, okay, graduated from a segregated school, all black people in there, period. That's all it is. Nobody talking about a Spanish person to be seen. Now, I know people might say, well, that's down south, but you got to understand, our family, we going back and forth, man. 95, I-95 up and down, that right there, they making songs about that stuff, but boy, that used to be a dangerous route too, going through the turnpike, coming back through here, going 3C, and things of that nature. But back in the 70s, we was not hearing Puerto Ricans like that. We was not hearing Jamaicans. We was not hearing them. When we went down there, when we went up top, we went family, we had to be pretty much guided to where to stay away from, because you basically was beefing with everybody, just like you are now. So when we have these conversations, and a lot of times these people get in the middle of that is because they're trying to block the light from the south, bro. And see, a lot of our people that went up north, a lot of times they were somewhat ashamed, they were somewhat discombobulated by going up north, dealing with, with this supremacy there. And when all the immigrants come, they dealing with something else when they up north. So what up north gave us is the same thing you getting from down south. It's just a way that we maneuver in this country. This is our country. We don't go anywhere else. We know what it means. My mother and my grandmother them know how to go and point out trees and know how to grow out plants and things in America. My grandmother was a Croatan Indian. Now, I don't know if y'all know about that. I'm not screaming on this stuff. I'm not trying to go that way. But a Croatan Indian, if you ever been to North Carolina, there's a place in North Carolina called Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina is named after a man called Sir Walter Raleigh. Sir Walter Raleigh came over on a ship with the white tea, and the first people he came across, they called them Croatans. My grandmother told me in the 70s, and my mama telling me now that my grandmother said she's a Croatan Indian. Now, if you look in a 5%er book, there's a 5%er book. It's on page, I want to say, 342. If you look on that book up in there and you open that 5%er book, when you look at that map of the United States of America with the Native Americans that they got carved out in there, you're going to see the Croatan Indian. They call them the lost colony. So what I'm saying is in the original 13 colonies here, when you hear these scholars on this panel, and when you see these scholars in that chat, and while we coming out like this, it is not hate, it is not to push people back, but it's to let people understand that I'm sitting here with my mother, she's 77. We don't have those kind of conversations, because when we was young, we wasn't confused that anybody that created hip hop, because there was no name for no hip hop at that time when it was going in the 70s. Those things was coming from music. When you talking about Bill Curtis with a Fatback Fan and things, those things y'all talking about, bro, we know them. My mother knows them. When you talking about Pig Meat Markham, that's North Carolina, bro. You talking about the La Rocks, Coke them and Shake. That's North Carolina, bro. So all of our stuff is all connected. We've been doing this stuff forever. Our music it's never named. We just create stuff by being here. We American. That's why when brother said the BMX, no, we're not stealing a BMX style from the Caucasian, because we the Americans. Whatever we get is ours. He the one that's stealing. He's the one that's making up things. When we created that folding chair, he didn't create that. When we created the fire extinguisher, he didn't create that. So if you see Fire Marshal Bill, you don't say that Fire Marshal Bill. We don't copy people in America. We the one that's being copied from everybody. So if somebody make a BMX bike, that's our bike. We don't copy nothing. That's our we do everything, and everything is us. Like I said, I got 77 right here. My grandmother was born in 1907. My grandfather was born in 1900. I just talked to my mother. My mother just told me my grandmother's name. We just went back like 3 generations. So I'm saying, who we stealing from? We create this before ska, before that that music that brother was saying. They wasn't making that kind of music. If you look back, they wasn't dancing like that. If you go in Puerto Rico, those people are dancing straight up and down, dancing with dresses on, they're spinning back and forth. They ain't have no salsa. Come on, man. What they were doing was almost like some kind of ball music. They wasn't dancing, they didn't have that rhythm. They was getting that stuff from Spain. So there is no salsa, there is no ska, there is no reggae without the blues. These people got this from us. Bob Marley was with the Wailers. Come on now, we don't take nothing. We are that. We the blueprint, but we don't. We not trying to make people feel bad. But our people right now are crying out. They tired of the disrespect. They're not used to our brothers up top and down south speaking in the same language. But that's why when you get somebody to do something in New York, it's already down south. That's why when you get something down south, we already music. We already know the feeling. When you screaming James Brown, that's why they call him that guy. That's South Carolina. But if you're talking about any kind of music that they made up top, anytime they make music, only thing you got to do is just come down south and you'll see a resemblance of it. And then when you go up top, all they do is they put what up top do is they deal way more with the mathematics. They get technical with this thing. They're gonna put these definitions on our stuff. They're gonna take this thing to a different level where we're not just on this planet, but they going around the world up top. They start to connect this to the Milky Way. So what they're doing up top is no more than what we're doing down here, because we ground level. This is what a home at for our folks down here, bro. So what I'm just saying right now, keep doing what y'all doing. Keep putting that music out there.
Yeah, music have roots and from down south. There's no question about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Truth.
Okay, quick question. This is the last question of the night. Truth. Ask the panel, the first lady, the Queen Cindy, what role does she play in hip hop? Of course, that's an easy one. If you want to take that real quick.
Nothing. She had absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Other than the fact that he was throwing that party in the community center to help raise money for her to go to school. Other than that, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
All right.
Maybe she wrote the 3x5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The card, the postcard. I forgot. Yeah.
And again, if you watch her interview, like, that's what she said. And when she said she was asked, she didn't just volunteer that. She was asked, did you bring that from Jamaica? And she said yes. So again, when someone asks you a question, and I'm not saying in her mind she lying or not, I'm not here to discredit, but
I am.
If someone asks you a question that it kind of ain't gonna sound like, and you choose to go down that path, then you liable. And again, or people can go on Google Maps. I'm sure they have pictures of that room. We all know if you look at a picture, sometimes it makes things look, more spacious than they are. But if you're ever in New York or visiting, or if you're here, just go on a hip hop tour. It's cheap. They take you around the city.
Yeah.
And that was our last stop. We did it just because we didn't have nothing to do that day. So me and my friends went down. So where are they gonna take us? So, but yeah, that rec room, and it's right off the like a major throughway too. So
the El Grant Highway.
87, I think it is. Whatever.
Yeah, 187. Yeah.
So yeah, it's again, history likes dates, places, and people, so it can try to keep track of stuff, and then it keeps going. History doesn't like to go back and change itself. That's especially here in this country. We know that. Okay, what's in there? Okay, that didn't get put in there, too bad. So sad. But we have to keep doing our due diligence and encouraging our young people. And right now, keep creating. They're the major influences like across the globe. And I don't, just like we didn't know it. Our parents didn't know it. We just having fun. We just doing what we do. The young people are doing that right now. And everything they do just influences the globe, but someone's making a lot of money off of that.
That's true.
A lot of money. So
that's true. Yeah.
if we can get young people to see themselves as creators and then take the next step, try to control your creation or monetize it, there's nothing wrong. That's business. If you don't, someone else.
Somebody else will.
And I think that's what happened with hip hop. It sounds like a long time, but 1970 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 2000, gone. Before you know it, it's mainstream all over the world. All the old shit is forgotten. And it's just because now there's money in it.
Yeah.
So, young people, hey, keep creating, but go that next step. Try to control your creation and understand.
Yeah, we have to gatekeep our culture. We have to learn to start gatekeeping our cultures, because we invent a lot of stuff, but we always invite everybody else in to participate in it, and that's the mistake we're making. We have to learn to gatekeep our culture, because we wouldn't even be having a debate right now if we had gatekeeped hip hop from the beginning. We should have done that, But we learn. You live and you learn.
That's right. That's right. So let's close out. Any parting words from you, Hits, and then Khalif, and then we could close on out.
I joined hip hop as a teenager. It wasn't nothing that I thought was going to turn into a career. Even the DJ part, that was like side hustle. But it got me into electronics and technology. Now, if I could redo it, I probably would have tried to, but with my nasal voice, I probably would have tried to been a rapper, because that's the cheapest part of it. You try to be a DJ, you got to buy all this damn equipment. It's not cheap. So it costs, a DJ to participate. But no, again, not here to knock anyone, just here to big our people up, our culture. We're used to doing it. Our parents did it. Their parents did it. After all of the contributions Black people made to this country is still not considered a Black country.
Right. So true.
So we understand that. Well, we contributed, we were a part of it, this and that, but it don't make it yours. We are a prime example. All the input we put in to this country, the world doesn't look at this as a Black country. So we get it. We get it.
What about you, Khalif?
Yeah, I would just say this, man, that we are the culture, you know what I mean? And people need to understand that. I mean, I'm sure they do, but we are the culture. This is why everybody that comes tries to cosplay us. No matter where you go in this world, people are over there somewhere trying to emulate us, because we are the culture. No matter what, no matter where you at. Over in Japan, these people are actually trying to get their hair like ours, and then trying to wear braids in their hair. And these are people who had straight hair and things like that. So, it's no question about who the culture is of this country. You know what I mean? There's no question about that. As far as this music thing goes, this is us. It's a foundational Black American creation. I'm going to go on and just say it, because that's what it is. It's a foundational Black American creation. Everybody else is just a guess. We invited people in from when Casanova Fly brought in DJ Wiz to when Charlie Chase and them was invited into the game. We invited these people into the game. You know what I mean? There was never no they didn't create anything. You know what I mean? They didn't bring anything, because I mean, look, it's like, what if we want to go from the 73 party? It's over 50 years later, and still nobody's brought anything else to this. You didn't bring, there's no Jamaican, nothing new that came to this. There's nothing new that's Latino that came to this. You understand what I'm saying? It's still us. It's still us doing this, and we still coming up with innovative ways to do this. You look at the MCs, right? There's so many different aspects of what they do. There's so many different aspects. They keep coming up with something new every time. And that goes to show you right there, that's just proof in itself of what, what this is about.
Right.
With that, I'm gonna leave it with that.
Let me say this real quick. Let me shout out to JG. Let me see, for saying excellent show. China Black, same for you. Let me see. Paul Roberts, same to you as well. Thank you guys for always being there when I come on live. I appreciate the support. For those of you who are here for the first time, please take a moment, hit that like button. Definitely subscribe, because we got some excellent stuff that we want to do here, and I want you to be a part of it, okay? And to my guests, once again, I thank you guys, because like I said, I'm learning too. We're all learning, and so in order for me to put out information, I got to talk to people who are more knowledgeable than myself. So Khalif, I appreciate what you bring to the table in terms of your knowledge. Being one of the earliest guys in the game, witness all the players, like from Herc to Flash, that's valuable. That's valuable. Plus having your own history in the game. And so I definitely appreciate you coming up. And I'm glad that I could always count on you and call you up for additional shows if necessary. So I appreciate you. Hits, I thank you, brother, because we met on, Tri Media on his platform. And that's how we became acquainted. And this brother has been nothing but kind to me, and I appreciate him and his expertise as well. And so again, Hits, you're always welcome. If you ever want to chime in on anything, especially if I put up something that I'm going to do a show, you want to come up, let me know, hit me up, and you're always welcome.
Appreciate it. I think you got the best chat too, by far.
Yeah, I think so.
Y'all don't let nothing get by, boy. Y'all rough over here.
Gotta stay true to the game, man.
I feel a certain type of way. Talk about my Huffy. I feel, listen. Thought I was doing something.
All right. So with that said, let me see. Oh, Adolph Montgomery, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Let me read these quick chats because somebody might want to say something real quick. Very important part. Let me see. Okay, that's pretty much it. Again, thank you, chat, for chiming in. Again, don't leave the page without hitting that like button. I appreciate it. Until the next time, guys, I'm out. Peace.
All right, peace.